Hello everybody, sending you all so much love today. I hope you're having a beautiful day whatever you're doing. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about relationships, about drawing in the perfect relationships for us, what can block us from doing that, and also a bit about the general kind of construction of a soul. And I think we're going to kick things off there. So some of you may be familiar with some of this already, but basically, you'll have heard terms like soul, I am presence, monad, higher self, all these different things. And there's a particular relationship between this all. And it starts off at the highest level with the monad. So the monad, this is what is also referred to as your I am presence. So if you hear people saying that, that's what we're referring to. And this is kind of like, this is the highest level vibration really of you, an extension of you, only the higher than that being God itself. And it is a spark of God. And it's when life first went out into the universe, long before planet Earth, long before human beings walking around like this is the form that life took. It was a monad, and it was a ball of electrical energy with consciousness, with presence, and it went out into the universe in order to explore. Eventually it wanted to expand out further, right? It wanted to be able to reach to more places than it could do as one individualized being. So it created what we refer to as a soul. And in fact, it actually created 12 of them. It created 12 souls, which were again individual extensions with their own consciousness that went out into the universe and essentially kind of fed information back to the monad. So all of these souls that went out, that went and learned and discovered things and had new experiences, all of that information was returned back to the monad, and it became kind of this collective source of wisdom. And then eventually down the line, that took one step further, and the souls, they decided again that they wanted to be able to experience more. So the souls separated off and created an additional 12 soul extensions, or personalities you could call it. And that's what you are, and that's what I am. We are a soul extension. So you can think of this really as one big family. At the very top we have the monadic presence, which has 12 souls attached to it, and then beneath those 12 souls an additional 12 soul extensions under each soul, which gives you a total of 144 soul extensions per monad. And as I say, you can think of this as a family. And I'm sure you all heard the term soulmates. Essentially, this is another being who is part of the same soul as you. And likewise, you can have a monad mate. It's not something you hear spoken about very often, but you absolutely can have it. And these would be people who are part of the same monad, but not part of the same soul. I hope you're keeping up with me here. So all of these soul extensions, they are going out into the universe. They all have their own path, their own mission. And again, they are reporting information back to the soul itself, which is then reporting that same information back to the monad. So the monad itself is an unbelievable source of wisdom and information that's accrued across multiple lifetimes for the existence of time itself, essentially. And not all soul extensions will be in an incarnation all the time. So of the 12 within your soul, it's quite possible that you could be the only one on planet Earth right now. It could be that there's others on other planets out in the universe, or some that just haven't, taken form yet, that may just be off in the spiritual ether, shall we say, doing whatever it is that they're doing. So it's possible that actually on planet Earth you may have a much more limited set of soul mates, or monadic mates, as you say. And we all work collectively as a group for the ultimate ascension of the monad, of the soul, as one of us, as a soul extension, steps forward on our pathway. It steps further and further close to ascension. That actually assists all of the other souls within, or soul extensions within that group, with their own personal ascension. And it can actually often be that, you know, one particular extension is doing very well in this manner, and it will kind of be given the responsibility to ascend the group as a whole. So, you know, coming back to the term soulmates and things like that, you do potentially have a few of them, 11 of them, because you're one of the 12. But these could be in any form. Lots of people think about soulmates as being, you know, the love of their life in a more romantic sense, and absolutely that is sometimes the case. Also, sometimes it could be just a best friend, it could be a family member. And you even hear stories of people whose soulmates are in spirit, and they kind of take on the role of a guide for them, and they have that relationship in that way. So it can take on any form really, but the one thing that's always consistent is having these relationships in our life, having these soulmates, these connections can have a real profound effect on our lives, because they are such strong bonds, you know, stronger than blood family, you know, because you're all part of the same thing, and they can be very, very beneficial to us. So, you know, you'll hear people talking about calling in their soul family, calling in their soul brothers, soul sisters, soul partners, whatever it is. And that's just basically a way of saying to the universe, help me find these people, help me find my soulmates and bring them to me to help me enrich my life. Now, of course, when it comes to relationships in general, these have an ability to be an incredibly positive influence on our lives, and can also be a very challenging influence on our lives. Often with sort of blood relatives in particular can be challenging. It tends to be that the friends that we make, the ones that we forge those bonds with, are the more positive of them. And I think that's why we often refer to friends as family instead, because we feel that closeness, because we don't have the challenges associated with blood relatives. But the reality is actually that before we incarnate on Earth, we make contracts with lots of other different people to help us on our mission. It might be that we need to go through certain challenges, certain initiations, and we'll make a contract with another soul for them to bring out these scenarios that we have to face in order to ultimately overcome them. And that may mean that we strongly dislike this person, whoever they are, whether that's family, friend, colleague, some random person on the street. You know, it could be a chance encounter that happens once, or it could be someone that you see every day for the rest of your life. But although challenging, these are very important relationships in our lives, because they offer us soul growth. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, whether we want it or not. That's what we're here for. Quite often, though, these relationships, they may only have a set period of time. You know, as sad as it sounds, not all romantic relationships will last forever, as we all know. But that doesn't mean that you can't be in a relationship with someone for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 40 years, and it end. But that not have been a really positive experience by the end of it. Even if, you know, emotionally it may be very painful, you'll have developed and grown a lot throughout that period. And, you know, everyone says when you, particularly romantic relationships, but friendships too and things like that, when you form those bonds with people, you take on aspects of each other. You change, you kind of merge together in a way. And it's these things that empower us and make us stronger people. I try and think back to the person that I was when I met my wife, Leanne. And quite frankly, I wasn't a fraction of the person that I am today, and that's through her love and her strength and her guidance that have helped me a better person. There's not a single day in my life I'm not grateful for that. These relationships are always really important things, whether they are positive or negative. Sometimes the challenges of those are just literally for us to say no. We all have, people in our lives that take the mickey, should we say, to put it politely. And it can be an opportunity for us to stand up and say, no, I'm not having that anymore. I deserve better than that. And quite often these relationships won't end until we take that stand, because that is the lesson for us to learn in it. But we come a point, obviously we're moving through this ascension process. We are raising our vibration all the time. We are looking to move into this golden age where there's lots more happiness, love, prosperity in our lives. And the time is drawing for us to have to endure the, less pleasant relationships in our lives. And quite rightfully so. It's an amazing time to be calling in those soul family, to call in relationships that enrich our lives. And you deserve that. Everybody deserves to have that in their lives. Things that, people that lift them up, that make them feel good about themselves, that make them happy, that make them feel loved, make them able to love. These are all really positive things. But of course, as with everything, we have to overcome those blocks and those challenges, don't we, before we can do that. And that's where the fun lies. But when we do that, when we overcome those blocks, when we say, you know what, I deserve better in my life, I no longer want this relationship, or whatever it is, so many blocks to relationships come from our childhoods, for instance, or from past lives, people that have perhaps treated us badly, or even just feeling worthy of it, is a massive block to be able to have positive relationships in our lives. And sadly, lots of people don't feel worthy to have love and happiness in their life. But I can tell you now, you do deserve it. Every single one of you does. Everybody does. Everyone deserves to have happiness and to have love, no matter what they think of themselves, or no matter what we think of them, really. They still deserve to have that. Everybody does. So, overcoming these blocks is such an important thing. And again, how do we do this? I talked about this a little bit in my video that I did on Tim Wild's channel last week. I was out in the woods. If you want to overcome a block to something, you can call out to the universe and ask them, to help you do this, or call out to the Intergalactic Council, the Board of Karma, whoever. And the experiences, things will manifest in your life in order to help you overcome those challenges. But also on that front, I have to say actually that next week is part 4 of my course, The Path to Freedom, which funnily enough is all about clearing the blocks to having the perfect relationships, as well as bringing those perfect relationships into your life. And this is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing this work as a group. We're going to be working with the Intergalactic Council, the Board of Karma. We're going to be working to break down any blocks that you may have to calling in those relationships, to feeling worthy with it, whether that's from this lifetime, whether that's from a past lifetime. We're going to be clearing and cancelling contracts. We're going to be working to release any karma that may be preventing us from doing that. And then we are going to be calling in the relationships that we desire in our lives, the ones that enrich us, the ones that bring positivity, happiness and love, and make our lives better for having them. And as we know, we all deserve that. So yeah, that's my next workshop coming up on the 7th of September. It is part 4 of the Path to Freedom. But if you haven't signed up for it already, although you can sign up for the entire course in one if you wish to, which you instantly get access to the recordings of part 1, 2 and 3. But also I have a couple of options that you can just sign up for the first half or the last half, just to spread the cost for you a little bit. So actually now is the perfect time if you want to join the Path to Freedom. You could sign up just for the second half and start from part 4 if you want to. There are benefits to doing it in order, but it doesn't have to be done that way. So you can come and join us from part 4 onwards. Also, I'd just like to say on my website I do have a payment option of Klarna as well, which allows you to spread payments across 3. So if you wanted to, you could either sign up for the full course or even just half the course and spread that cost over 3 months if you wanted to as well. It's just an option out of checkout. So we want to do all these things to try and make it as flexible and as easy for you guys as possible. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you guys there. The feedback so far on this course has been amazing, and it's been such a pleasure presenting it. I'm absolutely loving it. So roll on the 7th of September. Anyway, whatever you're doing today, I hope you have the most beautiful day filled with the most amazing people in your life. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.